Welcome back to botany class. Let's move to the next chapter, chapter 6, Principles of Ecology. Principles of Ecology. Define ecology. Ecology is the study of environment with relation of its organisms. In the lower classes, you may learn about ecology. What's the definition? Ecology is the division of biology which deals with the study of environment in relationship with the organisms. So, this term ecology, the term ecology was derived from two Greek words, oikos, that means house or dwelling place, dwelling, and logos is called study. So, these two Greek words, oikos and logos, the word ecology or the term ecology is derived from two Greek words. Oikos means house or dwelling, logos, study. So, ecology, there are many definitions. The first person who proposed the term or derived the term is Reiter in the year 1868. There are two definitions you are going to learn in this chapter. First definition given by Reiter and another definition by Ernest Haeckel. The term ecology was first proposed by Reiter, and he said that study of living organisms of both plants and animals in their natural habitat is called ecology. He defined ecology as, Reiter defined ecology is the study of living organisms. According to Reiter, what's the ecology? The study of living organisms. Living organisms, you know, both plants as well as animals in their natural habitat. In their natural habitat. That is the definition given by Reiter. And another definition given by Ernest Haeckel. Ernest Haeckel said that in the year 1869, ecology is the study of reciprocal relationship between living organisms and their environment. So, ecology is the relationship between the living organisms and its environment. You know, different ecological system, all the organisms live in different habitats. So, it related to the living organism and its habitat. So, he give the definition, study of reciprocal relationship, that is mutual relationship. The living organisms has a mutual relationship with the non-living or abiotic component, that is the environment. So, we are depending upon so many factors, environmental factors. So, reciprocal relationship between the living organisms and its environment. And who was the father of ecology? Alexander von Humboldt. Alexander von Humboldt was the father of ecology. Father of modern ecology is Eugene P. Eugene P. Odum was the father of modern ecology, and or Misra was the father of Indian ecology. So, here three one-word question. Who was the father of ecology? Alexander von Humboldt was the father of ecology. Modern father of modern ecology was Eugene P. Odum, and father of Indian ecology or Misra. That is one word question, and here two definitions are there, and the definition ecology. Understand that what is ecology. Ecology is the study. Ecology is one of the branch of science, biology, which deals with the study of environment in relation to its organisms. So, there is a relationship between environment and its living organisms. Let us study the branches of ecology. There are two branches of ecology. They are art ecology and syn ecology. The ecology, which consists of individual organisms, community, population, community, ecosystem, landscape, biome as well as biosphere. So here the ecology is classified into two different types, that is the branch of ecology, branches. There are two branches of ecology, that is art ecology and syn ecology. Art ecology and syn ecology. What is art ecology? The individual species of an ecosystem is called as art ecology. What's art ecology? Individual species, art. Individual species of the ecosystem is art ecology, and the community. How the community is formed? The individual organisms or individual species which group together and forms the population, and the population makes the community. So, study of this community is called syn ecology. So, there are two branches of ecology, art and syn ecology. So, first question, first you learn what's the definition of ecology. There are two definitions given by Reiter and Ernest Haeckel. And what are the branches? There are two different branches, art ecology and syn ecology. And the one word question, who was the father of ecology? Who was the father of modern ecology? Who was the father of Indian ecology? Now, ecological hierarchy. Ecological hierarchy. There is a interaction with environment and it forms as the group. As I told you, there is a relationship in ecology. You are learning about the relationship between the living organisms and its related environment. Without the abiotic components or without relationship with environment, the living organisms cannot survive, because all the factors, the environmental climatic conditions, this air, water, this all abiotic components are useful and needed for the survival of the living organisms. So, here in the taxonomical hierarchy is the interaction with the environment. The living organisms, the individuals make interactions with the environment. So, it forms as a group. The basic of this hierarchy is, basic unit of hierarchy is individual organisms, that is the species. Individual, the basic hierarchy is individual organisms. Each and every species, individually all organisms, individual species group together and it forms as a population. So, such a population which makes as a community, and this community lives in the ecosystem. You know, there are different ecosystems, aquatic ecosystem, terrestrial ecosystem, which can be classified into different types, and it forms the landscape. This landscape forms a biome and it's in the biosphere. So, the basic unit of hierarchy is individual organisms. So, this is the hierarchy. Sometimes 2 mark question or 3 mark question if they ask to write the flowchart. Hierarchy of ecosystem. First you start from individual organism. Individual organisms makes a population and a population forms the community. So, it forms the interactions with the environment, with the living organisms, it makes into a group. So, group of organisms, individual organisms which forms the population, and the population group together and form a community, and the community forms the ecosystem, landscape, biome as well as biosphere. Now, habitat. What's meant by habitat? Habitat is the specific physical place occupied by an organism is called as habitat. What's habitat? Habitat is the physical place or the location. The location where the living organisms can live is called the habitat. Another word is there, niche. What's niche? It's the functional space occupied by living organisms. The functional space occupied by the living organism is called a niche, and the physical place occupied by the organism is called as habitat. Now, what are the difference between these two, the habitat and niche? What are the differences between habitat and a niche? First, you write the definition. What is habitat? The habitat is a specific physical place. Specific physical place which occupies by an organism is called as habitat. And niche is the functional space which is occupied by the living organisms. The functional space occupied by the living organism is niche, and the specific physical place occupied by the organism is habitat. And another difference is the same habitat shared by many organisms. For example, terrestrial habitat. It can be shared by many organisms, grassland ecosystem, or this different habitats, same habitat shared by many organisms. If you take the aquatic ecosystem, there are marine as well as freshwater ecosystems are there. So, in this land, terrestrial ecosystem, forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem. So, same habitat shared by many organisms. But in niche, single niche is occupied by a single species. A single species occupy a single niche. This one habitat, same habitat is shared by different organisms or many organisms, but niche cannot be shared. A single niche is occupied by a single species. Then, the environment of any community is known as biotope. Here the environmental community, any community of an environment in the habitat is known as biotope. In this niche, the habitat and the niche of any organism is called as ecotope. Here it is biotope, there ecotope. Biotope, ecotope. So, this is the differences between habitat and niche. This question is very important for 3-mark question. Prepare it for 3 mark. Then another question is there, ecological equivalence. What's meant by ecological equivalence? Taxonomically different species occupying similar habitats. That is niches, taxonomically different species. You know, in taxonomy you learn different species. There are number of species, taxonomically different species occupying similar habitats in different geographical regions. Different geographical regions, the similar habitats are occupying by a species. Equivalence, ecological equivalence. Taxonomy, what's the definition of ecological equivalence? Taxonomically different species occupying similar habitats in different geographical region. For example, there is an example, epiphytes. You know that epiphytes. Epiphytes are the organisms, the plants. These are the green plants, but it dwells in the tree. It can able to live on the tree without the support of the, just for dwelling place, just for shelter, it lives on it. It's on the tree, but it do not take the food of it. It prepares its own food. So with its root, the exposed root, with the help of the exposed root, it absorbs the moisture from the atmosphere and it take the nutrients from its surrounding. But it is not a parasite. So this epiphytes, one of the example of ecological equivalence. In the Indian Western Ghats, the epiphytes are differ from the South American epiphytes. The ecological equivalence or taxonomically different species occupying similar habitats, which occupy similar habitats but different geographical region. Likewise, grassland. Indian Western Ghats grassland differs from the North American grassland. So, epiphytes and grasslands are examples of ecological equivalence. Then, let us move to the next topic, ecological factors. Ecological factors. There are number of factors affecting ecology. Ecological factors. Factors. Number of factors which affects ecology. The many organisms which exist in environment. Many organisms exist in environment which can be includes the factors includes physical as well as chemical factors. The factors, there are different factors which affects this. Mainly it is classified into biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors and abiotic factors. So, ecological factors, there are number of factors, biotic factors and abiotic factors. So, this ecological factors are mainly classified into 4 different types. They are climatic factors. Here this climatic factors comes under this abiotic. Then climatic factors, edaphic factors, climatic factors, edaphic factors and topographic factors. As well as biotic factors. So, this biotic. Biotic factors comes under living factors. Living factors also affect ecology, and the abiotic factors comes under climatic, edaphic and topographic factors. So, this biotic factors the living things which affects, abiotic non-living things. What are the climatic factors? Today you are going to learn the climatic factors. Climatic factors including light, temperature, wind, this all comes under this climatic factors. Light, temperature, wind, fire, this all the climatic factors. Then edaphic factors which is related to soil and its substances. Topographical factors, altitude and latitude. Latitude and altitude comes under topographical. And biotic factors, let us learn later. So, this all factors, let us see light and temperature today. How the factors affect, what are the effects of light and temperature? Let us see this first. Light, ecological factors, this is the 5-mark question. The factors, ecological factors. Ecological factors are broadly classified into climatic factors, edaphic factors, topographic factors and biotic factors. Under abiotic factor, here climatic factors, edaphic factors, topographic factors. So, the first factor depend upon or based on the climatic factors. What are the climatic factors? Light, temperature, wind and fire. So, this light, you all know the plants, when it survive, light is essential for photosynthesis process. There are number of processes takes place in the plants. That is, the main process is photosynthesis transpiration, growth, seed germination, and plant growth. For all these processes, it's a living plant, it's a living organism, number of processes taking place in it. So these all processes need light. So light is essential factor of the growth and development of the plants. Main process is photosynthesis. So photosynthesis and transpiration, seed germination, growth, the light. So in the light, in the spectrum, in the our resolving power of human eye is in the visible spectrum. So visible spectrum of light is 400 to 700 nanometer. 400 to 700 nanometer is the visible spectrum. So in this visible spectrum, this 400 is violet. This is 400 violet to this red, 700 red. This is the visible spectrum. But the plants, when it photosynthesis process, what is photosynthesis? Plants prepares its own food with the help of certain raw materials, that is water, carbon dioxide and chlorophyll pigment. With the help of chlorophyll pigment, plants take carbon dioxide and this water, it with the help of light energy, the source of energy is light. It converts light energy into chemical energy. It prepares its own food in the form of starch. It produces starch as its own food or carbohydrate. So this photosynthetic process, for this photosynthetic process, light is essential. Light is necessary. So this light is the light, photosynthetic light, 400 to 500, in between this 400 to 500 nanometer, the photosynthetic process it needs. It absorbs the light in the spectrum. So light is essential for this photosynthetic process. Likewise, transpiration. What is transpiration? Without sunlight or the source of energy, the sun, without this light, the plant cannot survive because it affects the photosynthetic process. Photosynthetic process can affect if it lacks in the atmosphere. So it affects the rate of photosynthesis. If the proper light is not in a day, it affects the rate of it decreases the rate of photosynthesis. Transpiration. What is transpiration? The excess amount of water comes out of aerial parts of the plant. So this process can affect. And germination, seed germination. For respiration, it takes oxygen and carbon dioxide. So from the light is essential. For seed germination also light is essential, and the growth and development light is essential. So all this physiological process, all these processes, light is essential. So light is the important factor to the growth and development of the plant. Next factor is temperature. This temperature affects all the metabolic activities. So there are limitations of this temperature. The temperature affects all the metabolic activities. There are three limits of temperature, that is minimum temperature, optimum temperature and maximum temperature. Minimum temperature, optimum temperature and maximum temperature. So this minimum temperature, the plants need optimum temperature. Plants need optimum temperature. In the optimum temperature, the physiological processes are maximum. maximum process or takes place during this optimum temperature. But if it is maximum temperature is there, it stops the activity. It stops the activity. If the temperature is high in the atmosphere, it stops the reactions, processes. And minimum, so it stops. Optimum is maximum, and minimum temperature, it minimizes the physiological process. It lowers the activity. So minimum temperature which lowers the activity, optimum temperature which maximum activity is taking place in this optimum temperature. And if the temperature is maximum, that is high temperature, which stops the processes. Understand? Minimum, optimum, and these are the limitations in the temperature. The second factor is temperature. There are three limits of temperature, that is minimum temperature, optimum temperature, and maximum temperature. Minimum temperature, if the temperature in the atmosphere minimizes, it lowers the process, physiological process, or lowers. And the plants need optimum temperature. Each and every process there will be an optimum temperature. So in the optimum temperature, the reactions are maximum, and if the temperature is maximum, it stops the reactions. So it is one of the factor. And there are some classification based on the range of thermal tolerance. So Roncaer classifies 4 different types of classification. They are megatherms, mesotherm, microtherm, and hekistotherm. Megatherms, Roncaer classified based on the temperature. Roncaer classified megatherms, mesotherms, microtherms, and hekistotherms. 3 more question. This type of classifications are important. Hekistotherms. This classification given by Roncaer. Roncaer classified megatherm, mesotherm, microtherm, and hekistotherms. And based on the range of thermal tolerance, the organisms can be classified into 2 different types. Eurythermal this classification based on the range of tolerance, eurythermal and stenothermal. The organisms based on the tolerance of temperature, the plants, each and every plants which vary, which need the photoperiod, which ranges the daytime and light time. When the plant grows, it needs the photoperiod, day and night alternatively. So some plants which grows in the high temperature, some plants which grows in the low temperature. So based on this temperature tolerance, this classification eurythermal and stenothermal. So these organisms, eurythermal organisms, can tolerate wide range. So these are the temperate plants, wide range of tolerance. But this one, it tolerates only small range. Stenothermal is small range. This is wide range tolerance. Based on the temperature tolerance, the organisms are classified into 2 different types. What are they? Eurythermal and stenothermal. What's the definition? Classification is eurythermal, stenothermal. What's the definition? Eurythermal or wide range of tolerance. So these plants tolerate more, wide range of tolerance. Maximum temperature it can tolerate. But stenothermal, it is very small range of tolerance. Then another question is, third classification based on this temperature, thermal stratification. Thermal stratification. So depend upon this thermal stratification, it is an aquatic range. So aquatic region, there are three different types based on the temperature in the depth of the water. So it is epilimnion in the let's take the pond as an ecosystem. If it is pond ecosystem, there are three different regions in the pond ecosystem. Three regions based on this: the upper region, middle part and the lower part. So it's classified into epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. Metalimnion and hypolimnion. The question is thermal stratification. Thermal stratification. The upper part, this part, the upper warm water, this region, epilimnion, this is aquatic ecosystem. In the aquatic ecosystem, based on the temperature, depend upon the depth of this water, the temperature varies. The upper part, upper warm water is called as epilimnion. So what is epilimnion? Epilimnion is the upper surface, upper warm water. The warm water present in the upper region is called as epilimnion, and the middle region, the temperature decreases. Here metalimnion, here it is warm, the water is warm. Middle part metalimnion, metalimnion is the middle part, water is, the temperature is less than this. And the bottom region hypolimnion, the water is cold. So based on this, it's classified into epilimnion, metalimnion and hypolimnion. That's called thermal stratification. Thermal stratification. Then based on the temperature zonation, zones, based on the temperature zone, it's classified into latitude and altitude. Latitude and altitude. What's the difference between latitude and altitude? Latitude and altitude. In the latitude, the angle which ranges from 0 to the equator. 0 to the equator, here the plants, here it grows. So in the equator, the angle of the equator, angle ranges from 0 to equator, 0 to 90 degree towards the pole. From the equator to 90 degree towards the pole is latitude. And altitude, altitude is the place of location of the organisms above the sea level. So in the mountain range here, above the sea level, how much height the organisms can be or the habitat can be, that is called altitude. So latitude and altitude. So these all factors comes under temperature. So today you studied only two factors, light and temperature. Once let's review what you learned today. First, the 6th chapter, first 5 chapter you prepare for half-yearly examination. Now principles of ecology. Here first you learn the definition. There are two definitions and the one word question and the differences between habitat and niche. What is ecological equivalence and the factors of ecosystem or ecology factors. Factors are classified into 4 different types. What are they? the factors, climatic factors, edaphic factors, topological factors and biotic factors. So, today let us start with the climatic factors. Based on climatic factors, there are light, temperature, wind and fire. So, light and temperature you will learn today, learn all these questions. Prepare well for the half yearly examination and write the test very well. Thank you.